The Passion of the Christ, the movie that was out a few years ago, I saw it once. I will never see it again. I have no desire to watch that movie again. It was very, very moving. I'm glad I saw it once, but I wouldn't want to see it again because it attempted, amongst other things, to show the physical brutality of the suffering of Jesus Christ on our behalf. And it actually didn't go far enough. It wouldn't have been able to have an R rating if it had really shown what it was like. It would have had to have an X rating and would never have made, the money that you need in these days in films and so forth. The scourging alone of Jesus. The history tells us that Roman scourging, we talk about the 39 lashes, the 40 minus 1 and so forth. That's Jewish law. That's Jewish scourging. Romans weren't limited by the number of lashes. Romans were merciless in the way that they would scourge people, with a cat of nine tails, with pieces of bone or sharp pottery at the end of them. So it wasn't just the whip. That was the easy part. It was the backlash, pulling and ripping the flesh out, so that Jesus' back would have no skin left on it whatsoever from the scourging. You remember the description. It says they took his robe off, they scourged him, and then they put the robe back on and laid a cross on him to carry, so that the blood and the various fluids that are oozing out of his back would grasp hold in his tunic for the time that it would take for him to be finally condemned and sent and carry the cross to Calvary, where they ripped the tunic off of him. Scourging alone very often killed those who were scourged. Very often. But he wasn't just scourged. Scripture says he was spat upon. He was punched. They grabbed hold of his beard and ripped it out of his face. I didn't come here this morning to gross you out. But I want you to get just a little glimpse of the fact that this is what the Scripture said would happen. He would be marred beyond anyone. Those who saw him walking to Calvary only knew it was him because the Romans would have been carrying the sign showing the charge against him. And you remember they put it up on the cross itself, identifying him as Jesus, the Galilean, the King of the Jews.